A little bit about myself. I'm originally from New York City. I was born and raised there, and I was always taught when I was a little kid, that's it, you're done, you're heading up from New York, he's done, he's getting up, he's leaving. That's it. I'm out of here. I don't deal with New York.
His enemy patience.
So growing up in New York, I was always taught to believe that, money is everything. Right? Go to school, get an education, get a job, work for the next 30, 40 years, and then retire with that gold watch. And then, hopefully live another couple of years, the limelight. So I was on that road. I was working for a company called Lehman Brothers. I don't know if you guys have heard of that company. The company doesn't exist anymore, not because of me. Okay, I'll tell you that. I worked for Lehman Brothers. I worked for Fidelity. I worked for a bunch of companies on Wall Street. I had clothing stores in Manhattan. I did a lot of different things because I was always chasing the dollar, thinking that that's what I was supposed to do. And then at the age of 25, my father passed away. And he was 65 years old. And that threw me for a loop because I was only 25 years old, and I thought that, I have to follow everything that I was told to do. But then 65, I saw my dad, and it just shocked me. The earth shook for me. I didn't understand what life was all about anymore. What was the essence of life? Why was I racing and chasing after the dollar if I'm just going to end up dead like my dad? Right? What was the whole point of it? And quickly after that, about a year and a half later, I found myself giving up my apartment, selling my portfolio, talking to my brothers, giving up all my real estate, and I went to Israel. And I sat on the beach in Tel Aviv for a year, and then a friend of mine told me he was going to India, and I said, why not? So I'm going with you. I got nothing better to do. I could sit on the beach here, or I could sit on the beach in India. It makes no difference to me, and I love Indian food, so why not? So I went to India with him, and 2 months later he came back to Israel to continue working, and I continued traveling. I traveled the world for about 6 years. I've seen highs and I've seen lows. I've seen the poorest of poor people on this planet with hope and a shine and a glimmer in their eyes, and I've seen some of the wealthiest people that were miserable, that didn't understand why they were where they were, and I learned a lot from that. I learned the meaning, the reason why we're here, right? I was always focused on the destination. I was always focused on the end goal. I was always focused on the dollar sign. I was never focused on the journey itself, on what was I experiencing and where I was going, and what the experience and the journey was doing to myself, was doing to me. And that's one thing that I learned. And meeting with so many different people, I picked up different techniques and different methods of creating and manifesting. After a while, after traveling, I went back and I settled back in Israel, and I met my wife while traveling in Portugal, and we have 2 kids, and then we decided to come back to the U.S. because the economy had tanked, right? Remember, 07, 08, 09, those wonderful years, right? So I came back to the States and moved here to Boca, started flipping houses, was doing wonderful flipping houses, buying a house for $20,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, for $16,000, $20,000, and then selling it for $50,000, $60,000, and really, having fun doing it. The difference now, coming back and getting back into the stream of this, Western society, because I had been traveling, throughout all of Southeast Asia, and South America, and Northern Asia and whatnot. And when we came here, I was a big hippie. I had dreadlocks down to my ass. I had a big goatee. That's who we were. We were big hippies traveling the world. And then we started to build a life for ourselves. We sat down, my wife and I, one night, we sat down and we asked ourselves, what do we want? What do we want to be? What do we want to do? And we created a map for ourselves. And we really detailed it very nicely on where we want to live, what does our yard want to look like, the kids, and how we want to raise them, and our ideas and so forth. And that was our plan, that was our map. It's in life and anything that we do, it's crucial to have a map, right? And, I don't know if anybody here flies a plane or sails a boat. We all know that before we get on a plane or a boat, we have to create our destination points, the waypoints, right? We need to know where to go. How fast is the wind blowing against us, or is the wind blowing with us, right? How about the water and all that kind of stuff? So we mapped out our life here, and we decided to stay and to grow something, and it's been incredible, the journey. And I put the meetup here together because I want to be able to give back to a community and to people that have helped me so much, right? I've learned so much from traveling. I've learned so much from meeting some of the world's, some of the most successful people in real estate, and learning from them and taking from them and creating something that I want to share with people that can help you go from living a life of default to living a life of your dreams. And so that's why we're kind of here today. That's a little bit about my story. So the meetup today, what we're going to talk about is, did anybody from last month, did you guys bring your elevator pitches? Did you guys work on your pitches? Anybody? No?
I wasn't here this month.
Yeah, excuse me. Okay. Anybody? No? So last month I asked people to work on their elevator pitch, right? You all know what an elevator pitch is? Have you heard of that term? That's that, an elevator pitch comes from when you walk into an elevator with a stranger, and that stranger turns around and says, so what do you do? And you've got literally 30 seconds until you hit that next floor to tell that person what you do. So in any business, you need to learn your elevator pitch, right? My elevator pitch used to be something like, well, I'm in commercial real estate. Okay, that didn't work. Then it went from, well, I buy apartment buildings with other people's money. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then they go, oh, he's a broker. I'm not a broker. Okay, that didn't work. And it evolved and evolved and evolved to where now my elevator pitch goes something like this. So anytime, what do you do? I help people create passive residual income through commercial real estate investing so they can go out and do whatever they're passionate about. Right? That's my new elevator pitch, right? That's something that kind of entices someone to say, oh wow, how do you create passive residual income through commercial real estate? What do you do with that, right? I want to live a life of my passions, right? It starts people asking a question. So, when you come back next month, let's work on your elevator pitches, all right? Work on them, right? If we don't have them, when somebody says, what do you do? Shit, I should have worked on it. I should have wrote it down. I should have worked on it. I should have done it. All right, so that was the first part that we're working on. The second part was we were going to talk about a property. We're going to do an overview, right, of a property that I closed on last year. So this is the broker package. This is the package that the listing broker sent to us. So this is a 76-unit apartment complex in Lilburn, Georgia. Okay. It shows you where Atlanta is and where the asset is. So it's in the northeast quadrant of the city. Hi, how are you? Good. It's the northeast quadrant of the city from downtown Atlanta, which is what we like. We always like the northeast quadrants of major cities. That's usually where the path of progress happens first. Why? That's just nature, the nature of the beast. We have the sign here. So this is what I got, okay? Or I should say this is what my partner Ben received. He got an email, he looked it over, and he underwrote it, and then he sent it to me, and we then went over everything. So I'm going to go over everything how we looked at it, okay? So that you guys can understand what we saw and where we're taking the property today. So 76 units. You can look at it here. You see it's really nice. It's a green. It's lush. It's got a nice main road right here, okay, but not too crazy. And this county is a very strong county in the Atlanta market. And as you can see here, it's a single-story property. There's different buildings, and I think there's 4 units, or 4 to 6 units in each of these little complexes, okay? And then we went and we looked at why this area, what's going on in this area, okay? And what's great about these property packages that the broker gives you, we recycle this information when we create our investment summary. Okay? There's no need for me to go out and research why is Gwinnett County awesome, because they just told me why it's awesome. So why not just use it, right? It saves a lot of time for us. So we were looking at Atlanta's booming economy, it's the capital of the Southeast and the region. Gwinnet's consistent growth has experienced 146% population growth since 1990. And of course we did the math, 1990, 2019, 17. How much is that? Because 146 seems a lot, but when you do the math, what is that? 1990 to 2000 is 10, and then it says 27. So you can see it's what, maybe 3% a year, something like that, right? What is it? Right? So it's about 3% growth, which is decent. It's not like wow, 4 or 5% growth. So you got to be careful when they throw out numbers like that, right? Gwinnett County is home to 120 international headquarter firms. That's awesome. Why is that awesome? I hear crickets. Jobs, exactly, jobs. What's the number one thing that we look for? Job growth. Job growth, job growth, job growth. Nothing else. Nothing else matters, right? Norwood is situated 5 miles south of the Sugarloaf Parkway District. Boasts blah, blah, blah. Attractive market demographics. So we look at this and we really dig deep. Another thing that we liked was the age of the property, 1984. That means that in a couple of years, when we go to sell the property, it's not that old. It's still considered a B property. Okay? 1984.
When was it purchased?
We bought this, Norwood is July of 2018. Yes, 2018. And this has a great story. I'll get into it as we go along.
Can I ask a question?
You just did.
Thank you. What about you renovate the property? Let's say it's 2000 and you do a major renovation and you put it in the package. How do you see that? How do you think new buyer is going to look at it?
I didn't follow your question.
You mentioned that that is a big property when you sell it because it was built in 1984. Okay. Let's say it's got good bonus and I do a great renovation in which I do new roofing, new ACs, blah, 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 a whole bunch, spend 20% of the value on it. Let's say I use space. How the new buyer is going to look at it? Will they look at it? If I do that properly, would that negate that date and you now project a new renovation to be maybe a B plus, A minus when you sell it?
I don't think it'll ever be an A minus, just because of the age, and because of the construction. But yes, the renovation will make it seem a little bit higher. Absolutely. You know, it all depends on what type of renovations you do, right? If you put granite countertops or, you know, all that kind of stuff. All right. So, why that market, right? So you go over it, and it's always good to Google the county, the city, the state, what the local government is doing. We do that. We went into the Economic Development Committee. We went into the Chamber of Commerce. We all looked at that. And here's some more stuff, right? So Atlanta's booming economy. We talk about Atlanta. We talk about the different areas. Key metro, second best cities for millennials, second U.S. city for foreign investment, third city for Inc. 500. So a lot of good stuff. 500 headquarters, you see a lot of big names. So this really gives us an easy feeling when we're looking at a market of why we want to be here, right? There's strong stability. It's not just one economic source that is driving this market. And then there's just more location, talks about how many people. So, you know, we went through this very carefully. We looked at everything. And then we decided to submit an LOI, a letter of intent. Now, a letter of intent is not a binding. Hold on a second. I want to just, this just talks about the different employment areas, right? What we saw, a bunch of big, and just to show you where Norwood is in comparison to all of them. So you see the main road here. There's another main road. All these main highways, and there's more that go around it, so it's really nestled in between these major roadways. So we look at that, you know, you gotta look at the physical location, right? When you're actually at the property, you gotta make sure that you look at things and you ask two questions. What are the things that I can change, and what are the things that I cannot change, okay? And if you can live with the things that you cannot change, okay, then move to the things that you can change, okay? And what are some of the things that you cannot change? For example, neighbors, railroad tracks, power lines, garbage dump, right? Airport, all these things you can't change. So if it's in an area like that, you have to say, okay, right? You have to take all of that into consideration as well. Then you look at a property and say, what can we change? What needs to be changed? Is there too much work that needs to be done? Not enough, you know, return on our investment? What do we need to do? So those are two things that we look at, right? What can we change? What can we not? Attractive market demographics. We looked at all this stuff. We Googled everything. We Googled it. You know, pictures. And this is, that's the property description. All right, so here we looked also, what we also liked was the unit mix. Okay, the unit mix was really nice. 52, a little heavy on the 1-1s. I wish it, you know, would have been more here, but it's fine. They're not huge. Okay, they're not huge. 576 square feet. It would be nice if there was 600 square feet. 600, a little bit bigger, would be nice. But you know what? Still, not bad. Not bad at all. And it looks like a nice property. This is the AC system. Okay, right there. So you see, it's all in the front.
Isan,
Yes.
with the unit mix, if it's not the unit mix that you're really looking for, is there any type of economic indicator that can help you determine whether or not the unit mix would work in that economy or that area?
You look at the trend from the seller. Right? Look at their rent roll, right? That's what you want to look, right? Because a lot of times, for example, you know, you see apartment complexes with 3-bedroom apartments. And people are like, oh wow, 3-bedroom, that's great. Sometimes those are really difficult to rent because you need a family that large to live there, right? So you want to look at the rent roll. You want to see what the trends are with those particular units and how often are they vacant, right? All that. So yeah, you definitely want to look at that, right? So when we looked at this, we looked to see what their turnover was. How many times are they turning over the 1-bedrooms? Right? Because there are 576, you know, there's 52 of them, 576. And also the studios. They have 9 studios, 288 square feet. How often are they turning that over? Right?
How many years do you need to go look back? Because usually you just get the last years.
I ask for 3 years. Usually they'll give you 2, right? A lot of times, you know, if you're buying from somebody who just bought it, they may not have the other 2. They usually do because they probably asked it from the seller, from the previous seller, but they don't want to give it. But we always ask for 3. We always ask for 3 years. Okay? And then we look here to see who pays what, right? What utilities is each one paying? Okay? The unit and all that. So when you're looking at this will determine your underwriting as well, right? How you underwrite, if you're paying for the utilities, who's paying for utilities and all that kind of stuff, and if you can build back as well.
Need time.
Yes. What is that? What?
Your face. Just need your face.
Oh.
Sorry. I was trying to turn it off and I can't turn it off.
All right. Then we looked at what the amenities were. Okay? Amenities. People move to a place that has strong amenities. Remember, a few weeks ago we were talking, I'd seen the economic development, the head of the Boca Economic Development Committee, and she was telling us, or they were saying how people move to a location where the amenities are impeccable. Right? That's what people look for, amenities. Parks, playgrounds, schools. Right? So even in an apartment complex, what amenities are there? Can we add an amenity? Right? And we also, how do we know what to do? Because we look at the comparables, we look at the comps of the properties in the area, what they're doing, right? So here we see business leasing, office, laundry facility, and off-street parking, and then the different unit features, okay, what each of the units have. And then you got the pictures. Now, you see this, okay? This is, remember, the property was built in 1984. Okay, so this is 1984 style. This is original. Okay. When we came in, we decided, here, this wall. Okay. It really separates the unit, makes it small. This is a renovated unit. Okay. They did the floors nicely. They painted. You know, this is the model unit, what it looked like.
Renovated prior to you acquiring it?
Right. This is their model unit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What they were offering. Okay. What we did, and hopefully I have pictures of it, is this entire unit, this whole thing, we took it out. We took it out, opened everything up, gave it that nice grayish tone to it. We put some backsplash in there, new appliances, and it looks beautiful right now. And this is the laundry units. You want to make sure when you're looking, so we looked at the, we always look at the layouts of the units, right? They have to make sense. The units, you know, you don't want to, you ever see those railroad apartments where you walk in and there's a long hallway and then they just have a room, right? It's tough to rent those units, right? Those units aren't really easy to move around. People don't like, there's a lot of turnover. So you want to make sure that the design of the units makes sense so that it's easy for your management company to rent them out. Location. We went over this, the whole thing, the location, but we go over and we look to make sure that it's close to major cities, close to roadways, close to major employers, if there's bus system happening close by, all that stuff, all right? Blah, blah, blah. I can go on for hours on this. All right, so after we looked at this and we decided, and we looked at the comps, right? The important thing to look at here also is the comps, the sale comps and the rent comps, right? The rent comps, we want to see what are our comparables, what are the other properties doing, and where are we doing, and that's going to be our roadmap, right? So we went around and we were looking. All right, so this is Norwood, right? 76 units, average square feet, 599. Harbinwood, I believe, 600 square feet, 749. Boom. So we got a nice little jump over there, okay? Then there's, you got Woodcliff, right? Their unit is smaller, it's 534, and they're at 705, 689. Okay.
So where is that in relationship to Norwood?
Norwood is the blue.
No, you have your, each one of your
Oh,
apartments.
here, so here's Norwood, Harbinwood is here,
Okay.
Harbinwood is 4, which one was the other one? Woodcliff, 3 is here, okay. Let's see, which is the other ones? 1, 2, and Meadowwood, number 1, which is all the way over there. Meadowwood, I would not consider because it's already past. Look at it, it's past the highway.
Yeah.
It is committed. This is not. I mean, it's stupid. You know, why would you even do that? All right. But just on this brief thing, it's like, oh, you know what? It piques interest. There's room to grow, right? There's room to improve. All right. So we move on and we look and we see and we dig deep into this and we look. So
Nissan, while you're looking for that, another question if I may.
yeah.
When you're actually looking at those comps between the property that you have and what you're actually looking at in the area, are you also looking at the amenities in that community?
Everything.
And those are things that you would plan to add to your community once it's acquired so that you can make that match?
You could, it depends how much spread there is,
Okay.
right? Let's say they're charging $1,000, right? And you're charging 700, and you're like, you know what? You're a smaller property, like with us, for example. In this property, this specific property, there's another bigger asset across the street, bigger amenities, playground, the whole 9 yards, right? We don't want to compete with them. We can't compete with them. They're bigger, they're a different animal, right? So we're not going to bring in their amenities into our place. But what we will do is we'll look to see where they're charging with those amenities, and then we can gauge what we can do, right? And what's cool now, what's happening, is they're starting to renovate their units, and guess what? Those people don't want to pay those higher rents. Guess where they're coming. They're not coming to us, right? And we raise our rents, right? We're gonna go into all that, right? So Norwood right now, let me just lower this second point. So this is where we are. So we got 9. So the market rent is $570 for the 288. 576 is $690, and the 864. We have 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and 2 bedrooms, 2 bath with the same square feet. Okay, a little bit higher. One is higher and lower. All right. So now we go and we said Meadowwood, right? Meadowwoods, 288. Same thing, right? 577. So the studio's pretty much the same. Not touching that, not looking at it, right? Maybe we can push it a little bit, a little renovations, but we have to see what Meadowwood is offering in their studios, right? And in their units. 1 bedrooms, 576, 639. What was ours? Ours was 576, 690, and this one was?
There is any logic to combine 2 studios to 1 unit? In some places?
It depends. If you have a lot of studios, you know, maybe, you know, it depends. You have to see what the turnover is, you know. If you're in a university place, you might have a lot of turnover. You know, here in a working environment, one of our properties is across the street from a hospital. If you get something like that, you may get nurses, you may get people, you know, that come for a year, you know, 2 years, they want, you know, a little place across the street from the hospital. But, you know, it depends, you know, how much it's going to cost to split the wall and make 2 units, and, you know.
Okay.
All right. So Meadowwood didn't have a huge jump on the 1 bedroom, right? Because ours was 690. Okay. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. There at 837. Wow, 750. That's another bump, right? Okay. There's something to do. There's room to play here. And the other one, 864, 861, 861, 780. So we have room to play, right? We have to see what kind of renovations they did. So when our LOI was accepted and we were going to contract, I flew down and I met my partner Ben, and we walked the property. We walked the property, we walked the units, and the on-site manager that was there that day was renovating a studio apartment. He wasn't renovating, he was making it rent ready because someone had vacated. So he was just painting and cleaning. And we asked him how much he was renting it for. He said $600. But, I mean, your 1 bedroom's at $570. He said, yeah, no, I got somebody paying $600. What did you do to it? Are you doing it? Nope, just cleaning it, giving it a new coat of paint. Oh, okay. Can you push it a little bit more? What if you redid? Oh, he said, if we redid this, I could probably get, you know, $625. You know, whatever it was. Yeah, $625. You know, another $25 on top of that. Like, okay, interesting. We got in the car and we started driving the different comps. We drove this one, we drove Meadow, we drove the other one, Hildeburg, whatever it was. Harbinwood, we did this one, okay, also. We did this one, we did Meadowwood, we did Woodcliff, I think it was, and another one, I forget which one. But we drove the properties. After we got our LOI accepted, and our LOI, you know, they were termed, right? Our terms were the purchase price, the due diligence time period, the fact that due diligence doesn't begin until we get all the documents that we request from the seller, and tax returns and all the documents that follow up. After we got our LOI accepted and we were in the purchase and sale agreement with our attorneys, we flew down, we drove the comps, and we drove other properties. And this is why you really need to get on a plane and go and know the market that you're buying in, right? We went and we drove and we talked to these property managers, and the same exact, where is that? I want to the same exact kitchen with this, they were getting like $925 in rent, and they were renovating it, and we saw what they were doing, and we were like, how much are you getting? So So we said, okay, so let's not, okay, so we said, you know what, and it was the same exact unit on the inside, the same exact type of property. It was a bigger property, same units. They were getting higher rent. Neighborhood was exactly the same, right? Just one was here, one was here. So we were able to say, wow, we can take this to a 925 mark with very minimal renovations. You don't have to put granite countertops, you don't have to change the countertops. You can just wash or paint the cabinet doors, maybe redo flooring. And where you need to change appliances, you change appliances. So we calculated about $3,000 per door in renovations. And we started renovating. So that, driving that property, driving the other properties, gave us the confidence and the knowledge to see where the roadmap was. We're buying it at here, right? What was it, 570, 670, whatever it was, 750, I don't even remember anymore. And we can raise the rents, and we have proof of concept. We're not guessing anymore, right? The other properties in the area are doing them. So that gave us a lot, of warm, fuzzy feelings. So then we went to our underwriting. Now, this is where it gets fun. Let me see. All right, now I'm going to pull up our underwriting. How do I make this full screen? Do you know? Huh? All right. Let's look at it here. All right. So this is my underwriting. All right. This is a very big spreadsheet. Goes all the way over here. All right. Maybe. Let me see if I can reduce the.
We'll let you open with Excel if you do the open with on the right.
Open with. There we go. You see? All right. Bada bing. So now, after we've walked the property and we've walked the comparables, we know how to underwrite almost to the dollar, right?
So you're underwriting after you send your LOI?
Well, we underwrote it, right? We underwrote it with what we thought we could get,
Gotcha.
right? Then we went
The detail more.
down and we said, wow, look what we can, because when you look at the property package and you go from the comps, according to them, the studios, there was no room to play,
Mhm.
right? You couldn't do anything. But when we were there and the guy on site was like, here, I just raised it $30, doing nothing, right? So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the real numbers, right? How do we do this?
I thought I was going to let you actually say
Go to
off
view.
and open it in Excel instead of doing
Go
what.
to view. Yes.
Is this your own underwriting template?
Yep. Now this template.
A little bit better, but it's not.
Uh, All right, so here we have everything in blue on my underwriting template. Everything in blue is what I input, okay? What we input. So you've got all the information here. Then you've got the unit counts and everything, right? Then we have the purchase price here, line 30 is 4.435. Senior debt, we spoke to a couple of lenders. This is what we were able to get. Okay, so you can see LP/GP. You guys know what LP and GP stands for?
No.
Okay, so when we do this type of syndication, this type of investing, where one group of people are in charge of the day-to-day operations, while another group of people have a limited say in what goes on the asset, you have two classes of members in the LLC. You have Class A, which are the investors. Okay, they're the limited partners. They have a limited say. They don't have a say in what goes on the asset on a day-to-day. But they do have a say if you know, you start commingling assets and funds and you do some dirty work, they can vote you out as the managing member of that asset. Okay, so that's why it's an LP, it's a limited partnership, okay, limited say. The general partnership are the guys like myself and the other investors that we put the deal together. We have the contacts, we bring the investors in, we manage the property on a day-to-day basis with the property management company. So we're the GP, the general partners, okay? We're the managing members, the mortgage guarantor, all that stuff, okay? Now, a lot of stuff that you're gonna see here, there's a lot of noise as well, okay? There's a lot of noise here, a lot of noise for your sake, because this spreadsheet is created to entice and speak to ultra high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth family offices, funds, REITs, things of that nature. That's why you have here, you see the LP is 90%, the GP is 10%. Because a lot of times when you raise it, you know, when you raise $20 million, you're going to go and you're going to get a fund to come in, and usually they'll bring in anywhere between 75 to 90% of the equity, and you've got to come up with the rest. So they want to see that split. They also want to see, it's over here, IRR, internal rate of return, and all that stuff. Don't talk to your investors about internal rate of return and all that kind of stuff. It just confuses them. The best thing to talk to your investors with is ROI, return on investment. It's very simple and it's very clear. So here again, so we got the purchase price, capital expenditures, right? That's what we're going to use. Closing costs, we put that in there. And then down below on line 35, right here, you can see where all these numbers came from. Origination fee. You know what an origination fee is? When you go to a lender, a broker, right? They take a point, or the lender will take a point to originate the loan. Acquisition fee. This is my favorite part. This is what the general partners get when the deal closes. It's our acquisition fee. Anywhere between 1 to 3% of the purchase price. Okay? You know, let's say you're doing a $10 million deal and you're getting a 3% acquisition fee. That's on the day of closing. The general partners get that acquisition fee, and then you divide it up according to your percentages. So that's that. Equity placement fee. When you're going to a broker dealer, do we know what a broker dealer is? Anybody? No? No? Yes? No? No? Crickets? No? A broker dealer is someone who's licensed to raise money. Okay? They work for firms like, you know, Merrill Lynch, all these big brokerage homes. These people are licensed by the SEC to be able to raise money for other people's projects. So when you're raising a huge amount of money, you go to a broker dealer and you say, hey, look, I want you to raise capital for me, and this is their fee. Now, what's beautiful about it is, if I go out and I'm the general partner and the GP raises all the capital and we don't need to pay a broker dealer or somebody else, a fund or anybody else, that equity placement fee, guess who gets that? We do. So now we just made 5.5% as an acquisition fee, right? But that's not why, it's not in there for me to take it. It's in there so that we have that ability to go out and to raise and to have somebody else help raise money for us, right? And sometimes there's even a debt placement fee. Okay, so you got to put that in there. Here we didn't have it. Okay? And then we plugged in all the other numbers. So here we have capital assumptions. The property renovation budget is $273,000. Again, max IRR. Don't worry about that. Recurring reserves, year 1 through 5, $250. That is a lender required reserve. Okay? That they're going to put away. Then we go here and we have our assumptions. So 3% growth, 3% growth, 3% growth, expense growth, all that. How long are we going to hold it for? We're saying 5 years because we're in the mark in the cycle, right? And we're almost getting to the top. So we may have to hold it a little bit longer on the downturn. We want to play it long, so we want to see if we need to hold it a little bit longer, will it still make money for us? So we hold it out for 60 months. Our exit NOI, exit cap rate. So our going in cap rate is 6.07. Okay? We're doing a conservative underwriting saying in 5 years, what happens if we have to sell it way cheaper than we bought it? Right? That's where the 8.5 cap rate right here comes into place. Okay? Sales costs 2%, pro forma expenses, right? Estimated replacement cost, all that stuff. There's all information. Replacement costs, you don't really need it. Don't worry yourself about it. That's for insurance. Replacement costs, property taxes. Property taxes, you always want to call the property appraiser's office and ask them how they appraise the value of the properties. This property, we just got hit. They valued the property, they appraised the property, and they're raising our taxes, they're doubling our taxes. So now we just hired somebody to go and fight it. It's crazy. You double the taxes. It's like crazy. So you gotta know how they do that, and you gotta be ready for it.
Well, can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
I was talking to a property appraiser this week about a property I'm looking at, and because the vacancy went from 15% to 16% from 2017 to 2018, and because the miscellaneous funds went down from 6% to 1%, they devalued the property, and so their taxes went down. So these appraisers that can go in there, that led me to think that when they're looking at your tax returns and can see how your vacancy rate may have decreased in your property, your miscellaneous income may have increased, that's why they would increase your value. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Is that a good assumption?
Maybe, are they, the purchase price is also a big factor in it, right? We closed it last year. Have they seen the tax returns for 2018, yes. Yeah, maybe, it's hard to say how they valued it, right? We have to go in and we have to fight it. The guy that we're hiring has done this property the last 3 or 4 times already, so they're very familiar with the property. So they actually called us and they said, hey, you're getting smacked, right? And they said, look, that's what we can do for you. So let's see what they say.
What percentage fee does he recover for?
They charge, for them it was like a $250 flat fee to register and blah, 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 and they take 25% of whatever they save you on taxes. That's usually what the thing is, about that. All right, so we have that information. Now, let's go on to the fun stuff here. This is the part that I always look for. Okay? And here we get the debt this is all the mortgage financing information, the interest rates and all that. Just to share with you another story, I'm kind of jumping ahead because we haven't even closed on this property yet. But so we went through the entire process, we raised the capital, everything is great. My partner, he did the underwriting, and the seller's management company gave us the spreadsheet of their rent roll, and at the bottom they took the rent roll and the utilities and they added it together and they gave us the bottom number, which is fine, and that's the way they read it. So we gave it to the lender, and the lender miscalculated. They took that rent roll number and then they added the utilities again to it. So they came up with a higher number, thus giving us a higher NOI, net operating income. So they said, well, your net operating income is higher, we can loan you more money. Here, right? We'll loan you $2.9 million. Awesome, baby. Right on. Okay. We signed the I am in the mountains of Virginia. It's July, right? My birthday's next week, and I'm having a good time with my family. We're hiking, we're enjoying the summer, and I get a phone call from the lender, and he goes, so Nitsan, we were doing some math, and we realized you guys made a mistake. I said, what mistake did we make? He goes, yeah, you guys double calculated the utilities, blah, 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 blah. So now that we've looked at the numbers, we can't give you 2.9, we can only give you 2.2. I'm closing next week, my birthday. What do you do to me? I said, I said, hold on a minute. I said, first of all, I know we didn't make a mistake. We definitely didn't make a mistake. It was you guys. No, it wasn't us, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? Let's get my underwriter, your underwriter on the phone, and they'll talk through it, right? Let them talk numbers, right? Who did what and what. On that call, we got them to say 3 times that it was their fault, that they screwed up. Their underwriter said, oh, yes, I see here. Oh, my God, yes, I did this and I did. Okay, great. Hey, you fucked up. Keep your word, right? Keep your word. You said 2.9. No, we can't. The debt coverage ratio we're not allowed, blah, 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 blah. All right, what do you do next? You got a week, 10 days to close. What do? You're $700,000 shy of closing. You got money that went hard, right? You paid for all your attorney fees, you paid for your lender fees, you paid for the earnest money. What do you do? What do? You give up your vacation, you tell your wife and kids have fun, you get on the phone and you start dialing for dollars. You start calling everybody you know. Hey, who do you know, who do you know, who do you know, who do you know, blah, 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 blah. We got to a bunch of you guys know him. I brought him to speak, Joe Landsberg. He's a mortgage broker for Marcus and Millichap. He went, got us a financial group out of New York that looked at the property, and within 10 days, they closed for us. They were able to move that quickly, right? But this happens constantly. So, you gotta have thick skin, right? You gotta be able to, freak out for 10 minutes and then, all right, what are we doing, right? Where are we going? So that was a very interesting story that happened with this property. Just to share with you that. Where were we? All right, debt financing assumptions, 30 years, loan closing costs, interest rates, all that stuff. That's DSCR. Do we know what that stands for? You guys know what that stands for? Debt service coverage ratio. The lender always wants to know how much income is coming in and what is the ratio between income to the debt service that you're paying, the mortgage that you're paying. And lenders want to see a minimum of 1.2% ratio, okay, of income to debt service. So you have 1.2% more income coming in than you do mortgage going out, okay? So we have a little bit more on that. Trailing 3, the 1-year pro forma, and then the stabilized pro forma is 1.86. So that was good. All right, now this is where it gets fun, okay? GP fees, the acquisition fee, equity placement fee, asset management fee, and disposition fee. These are all the fees that the general partner that we are going to make. Now, when you're underwriting a property and you're going through the numbers, right, don't always look at what your investors are going to make, okay? Remember on the plane, what do they tell us before we take off? When the mask drops down, feed yourself first, take care of yourself first, then go to the child, the person next to you. Same thing here. Look at the numbers. Look at what am I, as a general partner, going to make off of this asset? Am I going to make enough money that it's going to excite me to work on this? Okay? Or am I just going to work my ass off for nothing? And if you're going to work your ass off for nothing, I don't care how awesome the property is, why would you do that? Okay? This is the part where we have to be a little bit selfish, right? Every other time we're looking out for our investors, making sure our investors put their money in a good asset, right? Making sure that they're, that the plan that we put together is working, that the management, everything for the investor. But before that, you've got to look out for yourself. Is this something that I can make money on, and will I be happy? And if the answer is yes, okay, now, what will the investors make? All right? And here's another story. A lady from this group brought me a deal. We looked at it. The numbers, location, to die for. Across the street from the beach in Fort Lauderdale on A1A. Beautiful. You're sitting on the balcony, looking across through the 2 buildings, you can see the water. Amazing location. Numbers don't make sense. Numbers don't make sense. Not only don't they make sense, the property makes money. But after I broke it down to her, I said, look, after the mortgage payment, whatever's left over, we got to split it with the investors. They got to take at least 70% of the cash flow to make a little bit of return on their money. We're not going to have to give 75, 80% because you can't really generate that much money because they're small rooms. It's a motel, small, tiny rooms. So I said, finally, we broke down all the numbers, and I said, look, if we divided our share, we would make $10,000 a year as a general partner on this property. I said, and you're going to bust your ass working for this property, and you're going to make nothing. Why would you want to do that to yourself, right? Great location, all that.
Those numbers or those percentages that you're giving out to your investors, is that based purely off of the percentage of money that they're putting into it compared to what the general partners are putting in? Or is there other factors that go into it?
All right, so what we look at, we look at what the income is going to be coming in from a property, right? Minus all the expenses, then our operating income, right? Then we take the mortgage payments away and what's left over, right? And then we have a formula that says we want to give from cash flow at least an 8% return to our investors, right? So what does that look like? How much does that split have to be? And this dude will tell us what that split has to be. And this is where it is right here, right? So for me to give my investors an 8%, it's got to be a 75-25 split of the cash flow. Okay? So it's whatever the cash flow comes in minus the expenses, whatever's left over. Some people want to give a 7% to their investors, right? Now, when you're buying a true value add, right? A value add is a property that has deferred maintenance, has management issues, that you can add value to it and raise the rents to it and grow the appreciation. The first year in a true value add property, your NOI is going to be low because the income is low, right? Your whole job is to go in there, clean it up, renovate it, and boost the rents up. So the first year, the rents are going to be low. So you may not hit an 8%, right? But in our underwriting and in our documents, we say if we don't hit that 8%, what we'll do is when we sell the property, we'll make you whole on that 8% from that profit. We'll make you whole whenever you didn't hit that 8% from the cash flow. There's also the equity when you sell that you tack onto that as well, right? So we tell people it's a preferred return. So you make your money first before we make ours, okay, on a preferred return. So you're 8%. So if 75% of this cash flow right now doesn't match 8%, we can either take it from our 25 or we'll just throw it on, and when we sell the property, we'll tack it off. And I'll give you an example. This property, I think it was this property. This property yielded a 7.25% return the first year. Didn't match, it didn't hit the 8% because we were just getting things rolling, right? Q1, we're distributing 2.02%. So if you amortize that, if you annualize that, that's an 8.8% return that they're going to get. So we're on track for year 2 to hit this. We'll probably hit it, we'll probably make it more because we haven't raised all the rents yet. So if we're just raising some of the rent and we're already giving an 8% in Q1, imagine what we're going to do in Q2. Because the rents, more units are going to be turned over, rent is going to increase, so on and so forth, right? That helps you? Did that answer your question? Yeah. All right, so the split, 75, 25, 8%, GP fees. Again, don't look at this GP LP split here, okay? This is with the hurdles. And again, don't, this is just noise right now, okay? The hurdles. This is when you have these bigger funds and they want to hit, we'll give you 90% and we'll keep 10% until you make your first 10%. Then after that 10%, you'll keep 80, we'll take 20 till you hit the next 12%. And all those are hurdles. They're called hurdles, right? It's just very complicated. Those for the bigger. I like to keep it real simple. 75-25 split, and that's what you get, and that's where we are. All right. Now, that's so. If you see here the cash on cash return, okay. Year 1, 7.5. We were 7.25, so we weren't that far off, right? Year 2, we project 11.9, we're at 8 right now, and we're growing. We just started the year, right? So we should definitely hit that, if not more. Then year 3, and then the average, and then the whole period, 13.7. Now, if you look over here on the bottom, we have the different tabs, okay? Operating inputs. Right. This is where we put the numbers in. This is the T12. This comes from the seller, okay, the T12 numbers, all right? And then we have the T3 annualized, and then our pro forma numbers, and our and our pro forma for year 2. And this goes all the way, okay? And here we have more. 80% recovered unit per year, right? 65,315. Economic loss. Bless you. And this goes
Thank
to
you.
and this goes to these columns right here. And we break it down.
What are the adjusted columns for?
Yeah.
You have a T3 adjusted and then a pro forma T12 adjusted.
This is adjusted. Let me see. Again, this is for the big guys. Look at the T3 annualized. That's all you want to look at. It shouldn't even be in there. The pro forma, okay. This is where we're going to take it. If you see here, 634, 640. We're going to take it to 682, 494. That's where we want to go.
And
Right.
what is that?
Hmm?
What is that? What's your heading on that column?
Oh, that's our gross
No. If you slide all the way over, what's the title?
market rent.
Okay.
So our market rent, okay, the T3 annualized shows $634,000. Right, with our pro forma numbers is 682 for year 1 and 733 for year 2. And then we just break it, everything down. And we're noticing a lot of utility expenses that weren't there before, high utility bills. So now we're tracking that down, trying to figure out where it's coming from and why it's happening. Very strange. Unit mix and comparables. Okay, so this here, we take all the information from the property package and we put it in, and it's a lot easier to see the numbers this way than to have to go from Norwood down, back and forth. And I have a computer screen that's about this big, so it just lays everything out for me. Can we reduce the... All right, so here, so this is the subject property, right? Remember 288, 576, 864, and 900. Subject current, right? And these are the numbers. So you can see where the numbers are going and how much you can push the numbers. This is the renovation plan, right? The renovation, what you want to do per unit. Everything here ties together, right? So you change a number somewhere, and all the blue numbers are the numbers that you can change. So basically, you can put down how much everything is going to cost, but you see, like for concrete repair, we put $3,000, $5,000 for landscaping, exterior paint and repair, $15,000, all that kind of stuff. All right, so you can break it down. Now, after we did this and we looked at the numbers, right, and we saw, wow, it looks pretty decent. These numbers here, right? 14.6% in year 3. So we went and we looked at. No, that's not it. Am I going back? Then, all right. So then the process after we did the numbers, okay, and then what we did was we looked at their rent roll, okay? We looked at their rent roll, and we want to look to see who's paying, who's not paying, how long they've been living there, if they have security deposit, all that. What I don't know if I can do it here. I wanted to show you our updated rent roll side by side. I don't know if I can do that here. All right.
Can I help you? Yeah, you can.
So this is open with Microsoft Excel.
Just open and then the other one.
And then, but how do I open the other one?
So let's put one on this side, right? Right. Yeah. And let's open the other one and let's put it over there.
This is Dropbox. I'm in Dropbox right now.
You might be able to log in.
All right, no worries. So, I want you to take a quick look at the numbers here at the market rent. 750, 690, 570, right? So right now the highest number is 750 going all the way down. Look, we have a 780, right?
Here we have a 780, 780, 790, right? 790. All right, so 780 was the highest rent that they were achieving. Okay. Now I want to show you our updated. Where is this? Income statement. Here we go. Is this now? No. No problem. Sorry. Not very good at this. What are we looking at? We're looking at Norwood. Sorry. All right. Oh. Here we go. All right. This is this month's. Let's see if anything's changed. So we have 750 is the highest. All right, let's see here. Rent, right, 750. 750, 720, 740. What? 900. 900. What was the highest in last year's rent roll? 780. What were we projecting? We were projecting like 825 because we knew the other ones were getting 925. So 900, 815. Now, this is 900, not including utilities. Tack on the 900, another $35 for utilities. Tack on the 815, another another $35 for utilities. That's pretty awesome, the increase that we're getting. All right. Now, with these numbers, Q1 distributions are 2%, which annualized make it an 8%. What happens if we just start changing? Now, we have vacant rented. You see this one right here, vacant rented for 815? They haven't started paying yet. So they're coming due, right? They're coming in. There's another one over here, vacant rented, 815. They haven't paid yet. They're going to start paying, right? 800, 840, 900, 900, 825. Do you see the movement upward in the rents?
What is the difference between market rent and rent?
Market rent, let's say your competitors and the market is charging $600 for the unit. You're charging $550. So you have the market rent, and then you have your rent that you're actually charging. And then the difference between that is the loss to lease. That $50 difference, you do it in your underwriting, you tack that in, that's your loss to lease. So when you're buying a property, you want to see how quickly you can burn off that loss to lease. You want to see how quickly you can get your rent at $550 to at least market. Right? So you see how, yeah?
How much space do you put in Rent-A-Meter?
Who?
Rent-A-Meter. Rent-A-Meter. It's RENTOMETR.com. That's a number you don't know anything about.
I've used it.
Yeah, I don't use it. You know?
What do you use for market rent? A&O?
I have my GPs who want to be part of the group do market research, market surveys. They call all the property management, all the different properties around the area and ask, what your 2 twos, what your 1 twos, what you this, you know? You call brokers as well, you know, commercial brokers. They should be able to tell you, right? But I just go straight to the source. If you have CoStar, you know, it's a lot of money per month. They have, you know, information. But again, we got these. We got the numbers where we were going because we drove the different properties. We found out that the same property down the road was charging $925. So we knew where we could take it, but we said, let's not push the numbers when we're putting our numbers together. Let's not push it to 900. What if they're lucky? What if we're not lucky? Let's just push it down to 850. And now we're 825. Now we're going beyond that, right? So So this is what April rent looks like, okay? And it's fantastic. So, all right, so we did that. We looked at the rent rolls. We put together the purchase and sale agreement. Now, if you look in front of you, there's that document right there, the assignment. Okay, this is an important piece to understand when you're putting together. So all this so far has been before we even signed the purchase and sale agreement, right? Our LOI was accepted. Our purchase and sale agreement was at the attorneys going back and forth. We flew down to the property, right? We drove the comparables. We now know how to underwrite 100% really, really well. We got the property management company lined up to take over when we closed. We spoke to them. They are going to do the inspection for us, and it's going to be free if we hired them to do our property management. So we said yes. Now, this assignment of purchase and sale agreement, when you're buying a property, when you're buying a multifamily, you always want to make sure in the purchase and sale agreement that you are allowed to assign the contract, okay? Not because you want to flip it. A lot of times we'll put properties under my company name, Cornerstone. But then for that asset, the lender will want us to go out and create 2 SPEs, special purpose entities, right? Create specific LLCs to take over the property, to take ownership. Because they want to make sure that this LLC is clean, has no history, no one's going to come knocking on you, they're going, hey, you owe me money, or whatever it is, right? So they want it, and it's just for that specific property. They don't want this entity to hold any other assets. It's specifically for this. So when you create that LLC, you're going to have your attorney create this assignment letter, so the contract now gets assigned from you over to your new LLC, to your new company. Does that make sense? All right? So this is good to know and good to understand, because a lot of times people don't do that, and you can really get screwed if you don't have this. And also it's good to have just in case, you know what, something happens, you need to flip the property over to somebody. Here you go, boom, there you go. Okay, so that's that. Now, we looked at the rent roll, we did all that. We also looked, there is a, I keep doing the wrong button. When you're under contract and you're doing your due diligence, if the seller said that they did renovations, you want to know what renovations they did, so you want to look at their CapEx. So you see right here, CapEx seller completed, right? They gave us a list, and this is also the other list that you have here, okay? This is what the seller claims that he or she did to the property while they owned it. So now you take this, and when you walk the units, you go, well, you know what? I didn't see any stoves. I didn't see any new refrigerators. You know? Flooring replacements? There was no flooring replacements. There's nothing. So why am I paying more money if these renovations didn't happen? Right? It's really, you want to know what the seller did and make sure, receipts, work papers, whatever you can get from them. Okay? So we looked at that. We said, all right, this is what they did. Then we went, and so when we have the property management company going over and doing the inspections, what do you think we give them? We email them this list and say, here, this is what the seller did. Make sure it's there. Make sure it's all there. Then we go back. Okay. Then we went and we got. Then we went and. Here reports. No. Hold on. Then we went and we had the inspection done, the actual physical inspection. Oh, before that also, when we did our financial inspections, we looked at the seller's documents. These are the seller's income statements, right? So you see here, for 2018, this is the T12. Okay, this is from April 2017 to April of 2018. Okay, we want to go over this with a fine-tooth comb. This is where you're going to find all the trends, right? Hiccups. Why did this happen in this month? Why is it that suddenly in July, the utility bill goes sky high? What happens there? What happened in this month? What goes on here? Why is it that occupancy drops in January over here? Why? What happened? All that. You want to see late fees. It's all here. And this is where you see the trend, so you can understand what the property's doing, and you can ride that wave, you can understand what strategy you need to put in place. So we look at that as well. We look at all the numbers, all their incomes. You see, T12 is another one. It's from December 2017 to January, or January to December, I should say, right, of 2017, the entire year, right? So their total was 599,000. What did we say our total was going to be, like 680 something, right? So that's a huge bump that we want to do. We look to see application processing fees, you know. One thing that you really want to be careful in when you're looking at the numbers, a lot of people get excited when they see other income being huge. Oh wow, there's other income, a lot of other income. What is that other income? Oh, there's $5,000 of late fees. There's X, Y, and Z, and so forth, right? You want to be careful when you're calculating that into your numbers, because when you bring in a better property management company and you bring in a better asset management team as yourself and your team, you're going to shrink that number down, right? Because you're going to have people paying you on time. So there's not going to be late fees anymore. You may not have a lot of eviction notices going out, so that might drop as well. You want to pay attention to those tiny numbers that can really make a difference in your underwriting, okay? And when you're talking, and at this point we're also engaging the insurance agent. We need to see the last 3 years of the loss run reports, what incidences that they had, what did they pay off on, what was reported on the insurance property as well, on the insurance bill. You want to look at that. So that's the T12. So we look at the numbers, at the seller's numbers, we look at our numbers, and where is it? Where did I put it? Where did I put my, is this it? No, property, floor plans, and then no. Okay. So this is the other sheet that you have. Okay. When you're looking at a property and you're doing your property inspection and you're going over what you want to do and you're creating your renovation budget, right? You're creating your renovation plan, what you want to do to the property, you're going to usually give that to the lender, okay? The lender will say, okay, that's great that you want to do all that. Then they are going to send out their people to do what's called a property condition assessment. Okay, they're going to assess the property for any immediate life-threatening situations. What is a life-threatening situation? Your concrete stoop, one part went down, one part came up, so it's a trip hazard. That's an issue. There are no light bulbs on the lamps in the complex. You got to do that, right? There's all kinds of stuff. Perform landscape repair to cover exposed surface soils and tree roots. Perform pavement repairs where cracks and potholes are located. Basically, after the lender looked at our inspection report, they sent their people out. They said, on top of what you need, what you want to do, you must, or you'll be in violation of your loan, do these repairs. These are a must. Now, not only, sometimes they can give you this a week or 2 weeks before you close. Now you got to come up with that money.
Can you
Okay.
request that beforehand?
Well, you can. The lender will do whatever it wants, basically, right?
This chart was what you guys proposed, or this is what your lender?
This is what the lender gave us on top of what we wanted to do.
We said we're gonna have $250,000 of renovations. They said, okay, great, give us that $250,000, we'll put that in an account for you, and whenever you spend that money, we'll just draw it out to you, okay? Then they said, by the way, our guys went out there, and we have a list for you that this you must do. Your renovation budget, we don't care if you do that or not, that's your stuff. But to be in compliance with the loan, you must do this by this date. And they gave it to us. And then on Jackson Place, on another property that we closed on before this, the lender did that to us as well. And a week before, they said, oh, by the way, you need to give us another $50,000 to escrow for these types of repairs. Dude, we're closing tomorrow. We're not going to come up with $50,000, right? Automatically. But they don't think that way, right? They look at me as being the sponsor, as being the guy that is carrying the property. I should have this money waiting for me, right? So they don't want to hear any questions.
If what you have in your planned renovations overlaps with what they have as musts, can that money be taken out of that
It can.
separation of
Yeah,
renovation funds?
yeah, if they want to, right? It's all up to their discretion, right? So instead of getting another investor and diluting the investment by bringing in another $50,000 investment, the GPs, we agreed to take from our acquisition fee that $50,000 and put it in the escrow. So now the property owes the managing members $50,000, right? We didn't invest it, it was just another loan,
So
okay?
owes the loan from the property managers to the,
From the property?
from property to the
To us,
property managers.
right. All right, so we did this. We looked at all the,
Let's change all the picture, what is work. It is change all the picture.
yes, you gotta be prepared for all these different things. It's amazing what they can do, and when they come, you know. One property that we closed on, it was a CMBS loan, it was a commercial mortgage-backed security, is a mortgage that was backed by Wall Street, and they go through a different process. And the night before closing, the seller's attorney side, the lender, our lender, their attorneys, maybe 30 attorneys, each one sent an email. I need this document, I need this document, I need this document, I need this document. And this is the night before we're closing. Right? Tomorrow, everybody's ready. The property management company's ready. They're ready to go to the site that morning. The seller is ready. Everybody's ready. We want to close on this already. Now we get another 30 emails of these lenders, and you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared, right? You got to do whatever it takes to get over that line, to get over that finish line. All right. We have, during this time, we're also talking to the management company. We're getting their management agreements. The lender wants to see the management agreement as well, so we send it to them. If they're okay with it, they'll send it back. We execute it, we send them a copy. And the thing is also, when you're doing a Fannie and Freddie loan, when you change property management companies, Fannie has to vet the new management company first before you do that. So just be aware of that. They want to vet them to make, listen, they're the lender, right? They want to make sure that whoever you're bringing in to manage the asset knows what they're doing, right? They don't want to, the last thing Fannie and Freddie want to do is take back the property, right? Because they're not property managers, they're lenders.
So how long does that take?
How long does?
Fannie Mae take to vent a new property manager?
I'll let you know, because they're now vetting our new property management company. So it's a form that I fill out. I send the property manager the form, how many assets do you manage, blah, 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 where's your main headquarters, how many hours are you away from the asset, blah, 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 blah. It's, and then we send it back to Fannie and they say fine. But we change the management company and then we send the documents, right?
So you're doing this during your due diligence time, and so they're responsible for getting back to you with a decision before closing?
Well, during closing, right, we say this is the property management company that we want to work with now, right? So they definitely have to get back because they can't close the loan without that management agreement, right?
I had a situation where I was closing a Freddie Mac loan, and because the property management company I was getting I was going to pay more percentage than previous manager, that was kind of a problem, and eventually got resolved, but they had an issue with it, initially.
Mm-hmm, yep. Let me see, is this it? Where is it? I want to show you. So we have the property inspection report, which is 100 and...
Survey teller reports.
See? No. So the property, here's the PCA. All right, this is the lender's property condition report. Okay, this is the lender. You see here, ready cap, that's the lender. Okay, they went out and they had this done, and they came up afterwards with this report. So that's 83 pages. Okay, ours is here. It is. All right. This is the due diligence report that we got from RAM Partners. That was the property management company that we worked with that helped us close this deal. They were the management company that we were working with. They went out and they did this report, 192 pages. And you gotta go and you gotta look through every one of those pages. You gotta see what's going on with the roofs, what's going on with the electric, what's going on with the plumbing, all the different units. They have pictures of all the different units, you know, walking in and out, the executive summary. This is, you know, I like reading this, you know. I like to see, you know, for me it's like digging in and seeing what, you know, because when I'm looking at the problems, to me that's money, right? Oh, it's got an issue here, it's got an issue here, it's got an issue here, it's got an issue here. Oh, look at that mold, look at that, look at all this stuff. And it gives you everything. I mean, 192 pages, you know. You see the pictures, right? They just, everything. And they detail everything, right? And like this, you can also now, after this, you can sit with the management company and work on your renovation budget. Because they have the vendors, they know how much it's going to cost and what to do. So you say, all right, you know, we have $250,000 planned for this, and this is what we want to do. And they'll tell you, you know what, it sounds feasible, it doesn't sound feasible, it's good, it's this, it's that. So you really want to work hand in hand with your management company when you're creating your renovation package. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your decision on what you want to do. But it's wise to take somebody's advice that's in that market, that's doing it, that understands, you know, the market and what it can bear. So we went, we got the property inspection done. Everything looked good. There was nothing major, little things here and there, but really nothing too out of the ordinary that would freak us out. You know, no major foundation issues, nothing. So we went out and we created our renovation, our CapEx. This is our CapEx. Where is it? Where was that? Not there. So then we went out and we have our budget, and you saw it in the underwriting on the last tab. We have our renovation plan out there. And then, so then we get our loan docs. This is, you know, loan docs are hundreds and hundreds of pages, and it's absolutely ridiculous. If you've never read a lender's mortgage docs, do it once. Put it on your bucket list. Okay? Something to do. It's the worst that you could ever read. It's so, wow, it's unbelievable. But you got to do it once so that you can know what it is. But you give it to the attorneys, they read it. You want to make sure that your attorney knows the important points that you want to have in that loan, and you want your attorney to tell you where the sticky points are. But you really should read the loan docs yourself, or at least have one of your partners read the loan docs. All right, now, so we looked at everything. Everything was good. We said we are moving forward with this property. Now we go out and we put together our numbers, right? And I think I went over with you guys a while back on, this is the investment summary that we put together that we send out to our investors when we're raising capital. After we've done our due diligence, after we've looked at our numbers, right? After we've gone to we've flown down there, we really know exactly where we're going to take the property. We understand the market,
right? Why are people moving here? What's gonna happen with the other properties around the neighborhood? Once you know that, and you're certain that you can raise the capital, then you put your money non-refundable and you move forward. You remove all physical contingencies from the board, right? Meaning, if you find something later that you didn't look, and you say, hey, you know what, I want to back out now because I didn't see that crack on that wall, too late, okay? So you really have to make sure that at this point now, your due diligence period is up, right? And you're ready to move forward. You say, yes, we're going. You put together your numbers, put together your investment summary, okay? And again, it talks about, in the beginning, you want to create the sizzle, right? What's going to talk to people, right? What's going to get them attracted to, oh, I want to look at this, right? It's the numbers, the returns, what's going on in the market, the sizzle of the stuff. So here we have a little bit of the sizzle, what the opportunity is, and what we're talking about. Purchase price, blah, 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 all that. And here it is, investors' preferred return, 8%. Cash flow equity split to investors, 70%. Projected cash on cash. This is for a 5-year hold, right? 5 years. Your average cash on cash to investors is a 23.5% return per year. And that is from cash flow and equity. That's the total once we sell the property, okay? And this is how it just is. Not downloading? All right. And this just talks about everything. You want to be as specific as possible. You want to give as much information. And you want to make it appealing to someone so that they can continue reading, right? So we went out and we raised the capital. We closed on the property in July with that new loan. We ran the numbers. We ran it. We refinanced as well. Now, when you're doing your numbers, you gotta, and this happens, you gotta look and say, wow, when we do that second loan, because that first loan was kind of a hard money loan, right? Short-term, temporary loan, high interest rate. They moved fast, they got it done, but we had to refinance out of that loan very quickly. So we got ReadyCap to come in and to refi us, right? But you've gotta take into consideration now, where is that money going to come from, right? Is that money going to come from the GP? Is it going to come from the NOI? Where is that money coming from? So it's a business decision that you have to make with your team, right? And this is the package that we put together. Remember, a lot of the information came from the broker package. A lot, remember these maps and we just take it from here and put it here, or and the squiggly lines. You guys know that stuff. Okay. So this is the property package, okay? Talks about everything that you see, right? We want to give the investors all the information that we have and show them our strength in market knowledge and what we're going to do with the property and the strong numbers that we're going to achieve in a very conservative way, okay? And here's the renovation budget. More pictures, just tell the story, right? Here's the investor's cash flow, and one thing that I like that we put in here, again, numbers. People want to see, your investors want to know where all the money is going to, where every last dime. So you have these charts to show them, here's the purchase price, here's the closing costs, here's the lender fees, origination fees, acquisition fees, renovation money, everything down to the last dime. Detailed financials, operating, see year 1, year 2, year 3, all the way through, right? Resale value is 8.5 cap. That's a very conservative number. Do we know how cap rates work? The cap rate is the ratio between the income that's generated versus the purchase price. So the higher the cap rate, the cheaper the property becomes, meaning there's more cash flow coming in versus the purchase price. So when we bought it at a 6 cap. A little bit on the expensive side because the income wasn't there. But once we generated more income, that income versus the purchase price then raises that cap rate, becomes cheaper, right? So we're saying that we're going to sell the property for cheaper than we bought it based on the income that we're generating for it, right? And yet we're still going to make some awesome returns at an 8.5 cap rate, right? Cash on cash is 12.2 in year 1, 16 and 16.9, and you can just see the way it works. So when you see numbers like this, you want to kind of jump all over it and just grab it with 2 hands and run with it.
but you still want to be very conservative when you're underwriting. You want to get excited that there's a lot of potential, but you want to dial that excitement back in your numbers and just show strong conservative growth. And this is just our package. This is what I wanted to show here again. This is the what do you call this? No, sensitivity test. Thank you. Sensitivity test.
So, in the green, okay,
We said we are going to sell the property in year 5 at an 8.5 cap rate, which means that our cash-on-cash cumulated cash flow and equity is 117% return. You divide that by 5, and that's what you get for the year, per year. What happens if we have to hold it an extra 2 years, and we want to dump it, so we're going to sell it at a really cheap price, and we're going to sell it at a 9.25%. This, right now, you'll probably find in one of the bad neighborhoods in Atlanta, right, where you got to walk around with a gun to collect rent, right, because cash flow is so strong in those properties, but the appreciation isn't there, right? So that's where you get these types of cap rates. Well, let's just say we have to hold it for another 2 years, and we sell it at a 9.25 cap rate. Our accumulated cash on cash is 139%. You divide that by 7 years, you're still making 27.7% return on your money. So that means that if we had to hold it longer and sell it for cheaper, we're still making money. If we got a good offer, right, or let's say we sell it at year 4 at a 7.5 cap. That's a possibility. You know why? Because we buy in strong growth markets where the appreciation and the city and the market are pushing the value of the property along with the rents. So who knows? I've already sent the rent roll and the financials for this property to about three brokers that have called me saying they're looking for people, they're looking for sellers. They have buyers, but they don't have any assets. So who knows? Maybe we'll make one of those up there. But this is a sensitivity test so that we know if we have to hold it, will we still make money? And this really warms the investors. They're like, you know what, now I can see the whole picture. It's not a finite dot in time and space that we're going to hit. You know, it's not that bow and arrow, oh, that's the dot. We have now a bigger picture, bigger framework to work with. And you can see, if we sell it in year 3 at a 7.5 cap, you're making 32.9%. And if you sell it at the worst time. And what happens if you think we hold it in year 8? You think we'll still make money? Absolutely. Even in year 9, if you have to hold it, you're still making money, right? So this is what we like to show our investors to make them feel comfortable. And it's broken down, the financials. And then this is the team. This is, you know, it talks about me, the sponsor. I'm the sponsor. It talks about the property manager. It talks about the other people in the team as well, and all that stuff. And this is what we send out, and we always have this at the end, frequently asked questions. Right? People like to see that. Why now? Why real estate? How do I get my money? All these things that investors will ask, and they're asking while they're reading this, they can read it and they can look at it. So that's that. So then we raise the money. We create what's called the PPM, the Private Placement Memorandum, which you need from the SEC attorney, Securities and Exchange Commission attorney. And that's a document where the PPM tells the investor that this is a risky investment, they're going to lose their money, and they shouldn't do this. That's what the PPM tells the investor. The subscription agreement is where the investor fills in their information, okay? And you want to make sure that you have a really good SEC attorney, because this is where people can go to jail, can get fined, can get into trouble with the law if you don't do this right. Because we are taking people's money and investing it, and they don't have a say in what goes on in the investment. So you want to make sure that your documents are created with precision accuracy. You don't want anybody calling you up and having an issue. And when will you have an issue? When you have an unhappy investor. So you want to make sure that all your documents are nice and neat and clean, so that if the SEC ever knocks on your door, see, the way we have it for every property, I have a file folder. Okay, this is the way we used to do it. I have a paper folder, I have everybody's PPM and subdoc in that folder, accordion folder, verse with their name, and every time we have a distribution or anything, it goes into their place. So if ever an SEC attorney or an SEC official came knocking on my door, we want to see Norwood Apartments, sure, here you go, there it is. And it's nice and neat and orderly, and right off the bat, you've already won 90% of these people over just by having it nice and neat. Now, with technology today, we don't need paper. Everything is done with DocuSign. We take our PPM, load it up to DocuSign, send it off to you, boom, 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 click, 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 thank you. You get a copy, we get a copy, we store it. Nice and simple, right? Now, and distributions are going to start going out through ACHs and all that, so we're going to get rid of all that paper and all that stuff. It's all going to be online. It's going to be very, very easy. So any questions about the process, numbers, underwriting, anything that we went over? Because after this point, it's just going out, sharing the investment summary with everybody you know, and going out there and talking to people that you have relationships with and raising capital to close. So that's kind of the process of what we did with this property. Now, just to share with you another thing. This property was bought with none of our own money. I didn't put any money into it. Okay? I got investors to come in to put up their money. Okay? Earnest money deposit, I got somebody else to come up and to put the earnest money deposit. I give them a share of the general partnership, of the GP, for doing that. Other people came up and invested and gave money for third-party lender reports. I gave them a piece of the pie, right? So we were able to go out and to close these properties without using any of our own money. We put in a little bit of money on this one for the refi, because we didn't want to have to raise any more capital or go to another investor and say, hey, give us more money. So we took that out of our own pocket. But for closings, earnest money, lender fees, all that, attorney fees, none of my money came out of my pocket. And that's because of the relationships that I built with people and the track record that I have and all that. And it's not me, it's just the relationship that I really built with people and shown them, what we can do together, right? There's a slow way of doing this business that everybody should be doing, and that's building your foundation, building your business and your relationships, and then there's the fast way, right? Finding somebody's got a deal, tack on to them, become part of their general partnership, and then you can move forward as well on that. So there's two ways of doing this business, right? There's the fast way, which everybody should do, and the slow way, which you should do as well. You should be doing both, right? The fast way will get you credibility quickly, get you in the game quickly, get you cash flowing, get you making a little bit of money while you're building your company so that you can have a strong, stable base. Does that make sense? Yeah? Any questions? We're all good? We're all good? Cool. So that's that. I wanted to mention, if you haven't signed up yet, you should do it today. May 18th, holding a one-day workshop from 8 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got 2 other speakers coming. The whole concept is to master your mind, body, and wallet. We're going to be talking about mindset, how to create those, how to take those limiting beliefs and turn them into positive, expanding beliefs. And it's a system, it's a process, right? How to attract what you want from the universe, be it a partner, a property, money, whatever it is, how you can go out there. And it's a system. It's a very scientific system that you can use to manifest all these things. So we'll be talking about that. Then we'll be talking about how to keep your body optimally, am I saying that right? Optimally? No? Right?
Sounds right.
I
Good.
knew what you were talking about.
Thank you. Healthy, so that you can maintain optimal health so you can continue doing this business and doing it well. And then we're also going to talk about how to create passive residual income. We're going to go a lot deeper into all the process and that whole stuff. So go to the link, www.thetravelinginvestorsuccessworkshop.eventbrite.com. Tickets are usually $245, but I'm giving them out for those people that take action now at $97. all right? And it's in Boca at the Renaissance Hotel, all right? And then from there, from that one day, towards the end of the year, I'm gonna be holding a 3-day workshop as well, where we're gonna be doing it like really deep dive, super going into it, expanding on the 1-day workshop. So, any last questions before we wrap this up? Yes, no, no? Anybody? Jokes? No? Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys coming out. We'll see you next month. Oh, next month is the workshop. Next month is the workshop. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you.